Hi and welcome to my channel. It's called Hawaii Living, and we're going to be taking a bus ride today. There we are sitting, we're behind, we're going to be taking Route 42, and that route is from Waikiki to Ewa Beach, and this is bus stop 88. And for those of you who don't know, or haven't been to Hawaii yet, or maybe moved away or whatever, the bus company actually has its own app that it can use, and you put that number in there, and it'll tell you when the bus is going to be arriving. So we're on a street called Montserrat, and we're behind the zoo, and those people over there are artists and like to sell their art on the zoo fence. So they're called zoo fence artists. And it's just a little activity, like an art festival that goes on every weekend. And on the left side is Kapiolani Park, where I'm sitting right now. And if you can see it in the distance, there's the buses are coming. Okay, so this bus is bus number 8. Now this one, if you've ever lived in Honolulu, you probably had taken bus number 8, and right now they've rerouted bus number 8 permanently to go up Kapiolani Boulevard, as opposed to going across from Moana Park. It used to go all the way, it used to go past Moana Park and get off and go into Moana from there, but now it goes up past the convention center and makes a left turn on Kapiolani Boulevard. So that was totally new. And okay, we're waiting for 42. You can see it in the distance there. Hopefully it'll be coming by pretty soon. And wow. Oh, you can see that's a little scooter car right there that just went by, the little red one. It's actually it runs like a little moped. Yeah. Okay, here we go. 42. We're going to be getting on the bus now. There you can see the sign, Ewa Beach, Arizona Memorial, and the new thing is the HOLA card. So, and you basically top up the card every month, and you can ride for a certain amount, and then depending on how many stops you make, the minimum I think is bus fare was like it's almost $3 now. I think it's $2.75. When you use the card, actually, it's not any cheaper, other than you can, once you go, I think, 2 rides, which is about what? Once you've gone 2 rides in one day, the rest of it is pretty much free if you get back on the bus. But anyways, there we're going past the zoo. Down Montserrat. The funny thing is that if on the far end, after you make the left turn here, I used to be able to see the heads of the giraffes. You could see them over the fence sometimes. I thought that was kind of fun. But here we go. We're going to make the left turn right here. And most of this ride is going to be through the left window. And I'm going to have another video when we're coming back, and it'll be through the opposite. It'll still be through the left window, but it'll be coming back the opposite direction. So you'll get to see what's on the opposite side of it. But yeah, this again is the zoo. And as I said, there's certain places over here that if you went actually up to that fence, you could see the heads of giraffes and other animals, because they've gone and done like the safari type of enclosure now, where it's not so much cages, but they can kind of wander in like a habitat type of thing. Yep. So if you can see in the distance there, that's Jefferson Elementary School. And when I was a kid, I went to Jefferson. When I was a kid, I was an extra in a TV pilot for a pilot of a TV show, and it was called Calabash Tree. So one day they came over. They needed some kids to be like an extra for them, and so I was one of the kids chosen. And basically, all I did was walk across the camera, like, you know, they needed like an extra. It's me and a couple other girls who were just walking across the camera, and that was my big debut. Okay, so I'm on an accordion bus. That's why you can see the front of the bus here. And see, that's kind of a neat thing, you know. This bus actually goes. All the buses that stop there that I showed you on the sign, they go around the zoo, so you can see the whole. I mean, most of it is bushes. Yeah, that's true. Still, yeah, that's kind of cool. Now, if you go, this doesn't go all the way up to the beach. Once it turns around here, it just kind of, if you get off in the next stop where it stops, you would get off and then you'd walk up about a block or so to the water. You know. But there's a parking lot here coming up, and the parking, this is one of the places, if you ever come to Waikiki to park. I mean, I think the parking, the last time I parked here, the parking was pretty reasonable. I mean, it was like $1 an hour. So, I mean, it wasn't free, but still, but then you have the metered parking right here. The free parking is on the opposite side of the Kapiolani Park, and it's sort of like like amongst the residential homes and stuff like that. So it's kind of it's tough, but there's also another side on the opposite side, but there's a small little parking place. Not a lot of cars being there. And here's that place. It's paid parking. This one right here. Okay, so this would be the stop that you get off to go to walk to the beach. But then again, if you had caught the bus on the opposite side, you were probably already coming from the beach. You know. But if we're on Kapohulu right now, and Kapohulu is its own little adventure. The thing about Kapohulu is that there's a lot of homeless people that kind of camp along the way. And you'll see homeless people all over the place. In Hawaii. But by the way, this is a video that I wanted to make where I'm doing a narration of the ride. I wanted to see if that was going to help. I know I did another one where I didn't say anything, and I just kind of did some pop-up, information on the video. But I just kind of wanted to do a narration this time and see if it works better. And there it is, America's Diner, Denny's. There's another Denny's on Lure Street in Waikiki. So these are all residential homes, or renters. People rent mostly. And this is there you go, Domino's Pizza inside. I believe this is the Hyatt Place. I think it's called this, the place where the Domino's is. Somehow related to the Hyatt. It's a Hyatt property. And in the straight ahead, and that one is a Marriott. That's the Marriott right there. Please hold on. The bus is departing. So they have a lot of, when ballrooms and things like that in these hotels where people do weddings, and meetings and seminars and things like that. So straight down these side streets is famous Waikiki Beach. And St. Augustine's Church this is the parking lot for St. Augustine's Church. And this building right here was once the Pacific Beach Hotel. It's now a different name. They got bought out and then they renovated it. And it used to have a huge fish tank restaurant. And they had all kind of tropical fish inside. And there is still a aquarium in there, because I did pass by there before. But it's not a restaurant anymore. It's more of a bar. And kind of like a lounge type of place. And they changed it. It's still an aquarium. It's just that they kind of changed the feel of the place in the front of it. So it's just more of a bar and a lounge where people can kind of gather. And let's see. Oh, there we go. And there ahead, you see that blue awning? It's an ABC store. And ABC stores, they're all over Waikiki. And they're basically like, a basic convenience store that, the tourists can go to and buy souvenirs and, base bare essentials, shampoos and toothbrush and whatever else. But you'll definitely find things like postcards and, I think every tourist destination has something like that. But it's a chain. It's a local chain store. Right there, if you see that blue thing, is they have these lunch wagons. So that's a seafood lunch wagon. And see the Pacific Monarch. And the Bamboo. Next, that yellow building right across there is the Bamboo. It has this interesting little glass waterfall in the front. And one interesting thing about this is Kohio, by the way, is that I often see these really interesting cars drive down Kohio. I mean, all types of cars, futuristic things, antique cars, And I know a lot of the people who own those antique cars or vintage types of cars, they're out on the North Shore side. There's just a lot of people who have those kinds of things. They're very beautiful, very attractive cars, and they've kept them up. So here we go. Now, right here is the Princess Kaiolani Avenue, the street. That's the little park that she had named after her. We just passed it. And the Outrigger East Hotel. And we're going to be coming up very soon on the famous International Marketplace. This is going to be the opposite side of the International Marketplace, because for those of you who have ever watched the movie Blue Hawaii, you'll see a nice picture of, or a nice view, I guess you say, of the International Marketplace in Blue Hawaii, and that was the old International Marketplace. Since then, actually very recently, they renovated the International Marketplace, and it's all upgraded to, more ritzy types of stores. It doesn't quite have that same Hawaiiana feel to it. There are certain things in there that they did keep, like certain trees, and that they kind of built around it. And there's like kind of like a centerpiece in the very front that still has that. But see what I'm saying? They have a Saks Fifth Avenue there. And by the way, Saks Fifth Avenue, it's only been here for a couple of years, and it's already planning to close. And they're gonna put a Target in there. like a boutique type of Target, but that was the this is the international marketplace that we just passed. Even Duke's Lane, which ran alongside it, is not a lot left of the vendors that were in there. So this is the Waikiki Trade Center right there where the Starbucks is. And they renovated that also. So if anybody does remember that. There used to be a nightclub in there. I can't remember what it was called. It had kind of like an Egyptian theme. What was it called? It was pretty cool. I only went in there like one time. And now they have this hotel right there in the corner. There was a restaurant in there, an Italian restaurant, but now it's called Hawaii Steakhouse. Aloha Steakhouse, I'm sorry. Aloha Steakhouse. And it used to be a restaurant called Mateo's. Oh, there's the infamous McDonald's right there. For those of you who might remember what happened in there, like maybe 10 years ago right now. And yeah, there was a shooting that had happened in there. But there's a long story about it. But the guy he went on trial for it like twice. I've got my own opinions about that, but I'm not going to go into it on this video, that's for sure. But they had renovated that McDonald's right here after all of that mess that happened. There's a little pizza thing. I think it's those little windows on the side. And an IHOP. There we go, IHOP. It was the longest time we had to wait for an IHOP to come here. I remember the first time I ever ate at an IHOP was in Las Vegas. And I actually had their chocolate chip chocolate pancakes. And I regretted it after that. It was good, but it was just a little too much, you know. Okay, so if you look straight ahead, there is the Whalers, but it's closed now. I think that's part of the food pantry supermarket chain. But as we move forward here, this is the Ritz Carlton. This whole complex over here is the Ritz Carlton residence. So I'm not quite sure if it's a mix of a hotel and an actual residence. Right there, if you can see Island, something Island Market. But that's good to know that they have like a little market right there in Waikiki. It's very new. But yeah, this whole building right here in front of you is the Ritz Carlton. And it was really funny, but Donald Trump, when he came to visit Hawaii, he stayed in this place. So I was kind of perplexed as to why, but then, you know, it's because his Trump Tower is like right up this street here. You can see it in the background. You see that building right there in the background? That is the Trump Tower. And later on I found out that he really doesn't own the Trump Tower anymore. He owns he sold all the units in there, but it still has his name. But he stayed there at the Ritz Carlton. And I remember one night that he had to have like Secret Service like 9 blocks in all directions, you know. And one day I was on the Alawai, and I was walking down the Alawai, and one of those guys, one of his Secret Service guys, was sitting there on the Alawai. He was just stationed there like almost 9 blocks away from the Ritz Carlton. you know. I always, somebody always told me, you know, that that's what they do, and I didn't believe it until I saw it. This guy, and he was dressed up in a suit and the whole 9 yards, and I'm like, he's kind of a little out of place. But yeah, and this little spot here, it used to be a movie theater, and then they changed it. They broke the movie theater down, and then they made this. I think it was the Banana Republic. This whole structure here, this whole building, right there. And then after that, you know, they went out of business, and then I haven't seen anything in there recently. It kind of like they had these little seasonal stores that kind of took over the place at different times, but it seems like this building's been vacant for quite a while. Either that, or I'm just not noticing what, because I don't really pass by this place other than on the bus, so I haven't actually gone past it inside or anything like that recently. I know it was a shoe store for a while. But yeah, so we're going to be going after this particular stop. We're going to be going up Saratoga. That's the name of the street, Saratoga. And there's a post office on the right side. Since we're going to be looking out the left side of the bus, you won't be able to see the post office, but you don't. Just to let you know that's where the post office is. So we're still waiting for a light. This is a stop also, but I guess we're waiting for a light. And gee. But since we're waiting, just in case you're enjoying the ride so far, you know, feel free to subscribe and click that notification button, the little bell, so you can be updated to when I do another bus ride or do an activity or some kind of event. You know, I usually, like some of the other videos I do of some activities and events that are happening. I'll attend and take some video for you, and you know, so please subscribe and hit the notification button. But if you look straight ahead, you notice I'm not seeing any activity in there, so I don't think there's anybody in there. You know, if it is, it's maybe some kind of business place. But here's another little ritzy store right here. It used to be Tiffany's, I think, and now they have all these boutique stores right here along this edge here. Okay, so we're passing on the left side, which is not on the screen, is the post office. Straight ahead is a restaurant, not the one with the umbrellas, but the one further down to the right with the yellow sign. You can see that. That's a restaurant called the Exit Things, where I guess they do breakfast. I think there's specialties breakfast. Yeah, see that yellow sign right there? And as well as this is a bus stop. They really expanded that restaurant. But these little hotels here are little apartment buildings. These are some of the really older ones of Waikiki. We're talking about like the 1950s. If you ever see a photograph of, okay, here we go, Trump Tower, you can see that. This is the Trump International, which he no longer owns. And that's a Reef Hotel right there. This is the U.S. Army Museum. It's undergoing renovation right now, so it's not open, but you can see the tanks out in front. Isn't that cool? And they also have this sculpture of some of the gods of Hawaii in tiki form. And so in the background right there, you can see that hotel. It's the Halikoa, which is the military hotel. So we're in a place right now called Puerto Rusi. And there's the beach. You can see that. So this is kind of the military area. On the right side, on the opposite side of this view, is a parking lot, and it's basically a recreational area for the military. And this whole area, actually. And I know that they have like Department of Defense stuff over there. Okay, so we're going to be coming up on one of the more famous hotels. What do they have in Halikoa? By the way, I believe the word koa means warrior. So hale is like hall or house. So Halikoa would mean house of the warrior. Which is kind of fitting when you think about it, yeah. And okay, so this hotel right here, I'm not sure if it is related to the Hilton, because the hotel next to that, not this one though. This one, as I said, is the Halikoa Hotel right there. But this hotel, the one with the blue windows, is a different hotel than, even though it's right next to the Hilton Hawaiian Village. So I'm not sure if this hotel is related to the Hilton. But I think this is a separate hotel right here, with the one with the aqua kind of windows. Because it doesn't really look like the other towers that belong to the Hilton. All right, here we go. This is the Hilton Hawaiian Village right here. And, you know, if you walk in there, they got tons of little shops and stuff like that. And in the very back there, you can see a little bit of that rainbow. That's the Rainbow Tower. You can see it in the background there. The famous Rainbow Tower. It has a rainbow on both sides of the building. Oh, here we go. There's awesome statues. The hula statues. Amazing. Yeah, shoots. Yeah, give me a tree right there. But those statues are pretty tall. I mean, they're good, like maybe 9 to 12 feet tall. They're huge compared to the man in the background. You see them? Yeah, those statues are pretty huge. Hopefully, we can get a better look on the opposite side when the bus turns. The Wailana Coffee House, which is straight ahead there, they closed a while back at the beginning of the pandemic. So if you ever lived here for a while, you know, that was pretty much like it was a 24-hour coffee house. You know, it's very sad. There's a lot of restaurants that kind of close because of the pandemic, and you know, because things changed. And not everybody could handle it. Not all the businesses, even some of the really old ones, if they couldn't handle it in terms of financially. Yeah. But the sign is still up there. The Wailana Coffee House. Which bus is this? Oh, I think this is the E. And the 20. And I will probably be doing a bus ride for 20 and the E at some point. So subscribe and click that notification button, and you'll get notified when I do another bus ride or attend another event. The purpose of my channel here is basically for anybody who's kind of interested in what's going on in Hawaii. You know, and people who want to think about coming here to pay a visit or even move here or whatever. People who have lived here and wondering, hey, how has Hawaii changed? So I'm hoping that my videos will be informative and just kind of interesting to pass the time, There it is, Waipahu Coffee House. Okay, let me see if I can get that view. There, you can see it in the distance, those statues. They're pretty cool. I mean, they're huge. And those are the Hilton Hawaiian Village towers right there. Straight ahead there is a Japanese restaurant, and I think that one closed also. I don't know if it was because of the pandemic, but I know it was kind of a staple of, for in terms of Japanese restaurants, though. That one right there. So, and again, you have these little, this is where the famous Waikiki Hotel used to be. I don't know if anybody ever remembers that hotel. I think it was in Blue Hawaii also. There might have been a shot of it. It was called the Waikiki, and it was right in the area, right here where we're looking. Before they created that other tower for the Hilton. But again, you have these little houses here from old back in the day. Yes. Oh, there it is, right on the right side there. You see that kind of like a teal colored balconies? That is the famous Ilakai Hotel. Now it's a Ilakai residence. I think it's still a hotel, but part of it is like a residence now. But that is the Ilakai. And for those of you who don't know, what's the significance of the Ilakai? At the very top floors there, that's where the famous, when Jack Lord turns around, and then he turns around and his that little flap of hair in the front is yeah. So I think the new Hawaii Five-0 also did the same kind of a shot at the very top, but the Ilakai Hotel is where they made that shot, and I don't know which, because it flares out in like 3 different directions, so I don't know which one it does it, on top. But that's a little history about that, about the Ilakai Hotel. Now the small hotel right here, there used to be a theater in there. I think it was called the Marina Theater. And then it became an Outback Steakhouse, and then a Red Lobster. You can see that. The Outback went out of business. And this is the Prince, I think, the Prince Hotel. It had a waterfall in the front. But there was a mural by Robert Weiland that was on the side of the other hotel, and then when this big hotel came up, it cut the view of it. And then he redid the same mural out there by the airport somewhere. Okay, here we go. This is the Moana Park. And this is the little gateway. See those little gate arches? And in the front there are these stations for the thing called the Beaky bikes, where you can rent bikes for about a half an hour or so. In increments of a half an hour. So this is the famous Moana Park. And in the background, further out, there is something called Magic Island. There's an L&L's in there, if you didn't know that. And there's isn't that kind of cool little arch bridge there. And they're currently renovating this. There's a canal. You can see that wall right there. There's water in there. It's like a little moat. And they've been renovating that whole thing further down at the other end of the park. But yeah, it seems like a very sunny day today.
Please hold on.
And there's a little footbridge. You can see that. You know, they did another version of a footbridge further down, and it's really wide. And I think they put some kind of barriers in front of it so people don't get the temptation to drive across it. You know, the people who's gonna drive across it, they think their car is gonna go, that's for sure. But yeah, I just, occasionally I would do an exercise over here, just walk around the park. A nice brisk walk. I had a drone and I accidentally got it caught in a tree over here a while back. It was rescued, but still it wasn't quite the same after that. See that those all that machinery over there because they're doing a bridge. There it is. See that bridge where all the cones are? It's a pedestrian bridge. I believe we're at a stop. Yeah, we're at a stop. So this should be interesting. So the bus is now getting filled up with a whole bunch of people because we just stopped at Moana, the shopping center. Now, Ala Moana has its own history, and it's been around for quite a while. And you believe it or not, it was actually considered to be the world's largest shopping center at one time, back in the late 50s. Not anymore, of course, but yeah. So that's over there. The little houses is the McCoy Pavilion, and they have festivals in there, and then they have the tennis courts right here. I have another video where I drive around the park, so if you want to check that one out. And this is a newly renovated little pond out there. It has like a little island in it, though. That was kind of interesting. Okay, the cross street over here, believe it or not, I mean, it has like the shortest cross time that allows people to cross. I mean, the shortest, less than 30 seconds to get across. I mean, it flashes like maybe once or twice, the little man walking, and then it starts to do a countdown. And every time I would go to this bus stop and wait for the bus after going to a movie, it's because the Ward complex, 16, I think it's Ward 16 complex, is on this street right here, onto the right. And after the movie's over, I'd cross over here, and crossing it is I don't know. Here is Koala Basin. So they have boats in here, and you can do like fishing tours. And there's a pirate ship, a pirate tour. There, you can see the pirate ship right there. So they have these actors. I did do this the pirate cruise, it's called, and this guy, he has a pirate crew and everything. They take you out and they kind of entertain you while you're riding with pirates. it's an interesting. I do recommend it if you can keep your lunch down in terms of not getting seasick. Now, this particular area, by the way, has a lot of homeless. I'm not seeing it right now, but if you go further into the back area, there's a lot of homeless over there. Okay, so this is Kakaako, and they have a lot of car dealerships. And on the right side, which is on the opposite side of this bus, they have car dealerships and a stationery store, and there's a whole section. Oh, this is another park where they had a lot of homeless living in here too. It looks a lot better. It does look a lot better. And they, I know that they had some festivals in here. I went to one of them. But yeah, this is Kakaako, and then there's a place on the right side, on the opposite side of the bus, called Salt. It's a complex that has like restaurants in it, and some stores and bar and all that business. In the back there, you see those green roofs? That's the UH Medical Center. Or medical school. Let's put it that way. Yeah. It's the UH Medical School. So there's doctors being learned over there. And this is the Gold Bond Building. Oh, okay, that's pretty interesting right there. This is some kind of a historic building, and I'm not quite sure what it was. It might have been like an oil refinery at the time. It had been back at the turn of the century, 1800s, I think. Don't quote me on that now, because I'm not 100% sure what it was, but I know it is definitely a historic building. And that's the Customs Building. This is Restaurant Row. So we've just turned onto South Street. Now South Street is very interesting because this is kind of like the edge. Oh, and then by the way, you can see that cruise ship in the back. So we're near the pier, and that's definitely where all the cruise ships come in. The Pacific Princess used to come. You remember the Pacific Princess? The love boat. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so this is Restaurant Row, and they have businesses and doctors' offices and all kind of stuff in here. Okay, and this is the courthouse. This is the parking structure for the courthouse. On the opposite side is where they have the federal courthouse and the and there's sorry, that was the Kamaka ukulele factory. The way we just passed it. So if you guys wonder what Kamaka, yeah, that's Kamaka ukulele factory. You can take a tour of the factory. They have daily tours, believe it or not. It was very interesting. And that is the Honolulu Fire Department downtown. And I think the Honolulu Fire Department Museum is in that building. Either that or it's the red brick one in the back behind that. Because I think this is definitely a newer building. But it's in this area, definitely. I know that they have a museum where they have this antique fire truck. So it's very interesting. They have a federal fire department out by Pearl Harbor, And they actually have a museum of their own too. I don't know if it's open to the public. I don't think it is, but they have a lot of like antique firefighting stuff in there. But the New Hope Church is right there. You can see that with the writing on the church you can call home or something. FedEx, storage place. Okay, so we're heading, this is the outskirts of downtown. Okay, so we're going to be heading into downtown now of Honolulu. So this is that's kind of the interesting thing about this particular bus route is that it takes you through Waikiki, past a whole bunch of important landmarks. So if you ever come to Hawaii, or even if you've ever been to Hawaii, you can see how things have changed, or how things are at the moment. So we're at the corner right now of Kapiolani and South Street. And on the opposite side of, it's not on camera, but on the opposite side of this view we're looking at here is a building that used to be the Honolulu Advertiser and Star Bulletin. Okay, so we're coming past, these are the the city buildings, the city, like city and county stuff, yeah. So this, that's what this whole area is right now. It's for the city and county. They run their offices in all that building right there. And the city hall is on the opposite side. When we make the turn, you might be able to see it. I'll point it out. On the opposite side of this, but not on camera, is the Alapai Transit Center. So we're going past the Alapai Transit Center, but we're not going to go in on this particular bus. There are other buses that go into it, and then it's a transfer point. But straight ahead, you can see that building with the blackness on the windows. That's the Board of Water Supply. See, it's part of the state, city, and all that stuff. It's kind of the heart of Honolulu right here. It's administrative part. Okay, so I think that's in this little corner over here. It has like a kid thing like to play on. I think this is the child care for the city workers, and there's a parking structure. And okay, so this is the Bureau of Conveyance, and that red roof in the background, that is Honolulu Hale. That is the city hall of Honolulu, and this is the Bureau of Conveyance. There it is. That's Honolulu Hale, the city hall. You can see the airplane taking off in the background. We're gonna go past the airport too. See, this bus takes you all over the place. So if you want a serious tour in the island, 42 is a pretty good one. So this one here is the state capitol. This is where they make all the laws and all that, and where people stand out there and protest. You'll see people out there with with signs and stuff often enough, protesting something or another. The walls that you see right there is because they're renovating there used to be like a moat, like a little pond in the front, and then they had issues with algae and things like that. So they are going to renovate that and change it up somehow. How, I don't know. In the background there is the library, the state library. And you can see that little statue right there. That's the statue of Father Damien, the leper monk of Molokai. Okay, so this is more right here. This building right here is more city stuff. They have offices in there. What they do, I have no clue. It's just, you know, if you need some kind of office thing going on, that's the place to go. Now, when I saw this construction going on right here, and when I saw that, I was like, that's a really bad place to be building a building. I don't know. I mean, it's like you're so close to everything else. Why would you want to build? I hope it doesn't get too high. But I'm like, why would you want to build a building that close to all these other ones? You know? And yeah, I would hate to live in that building. I think it is an apartment building. I'm not sure. But why would you want another building that close? You know, cut off your view. It's pretty bad. Now, straight ahead is, you know, that building looks like another building called Century Center. It has that same look about it. I wonder if it's made by the same people. But behind it is Our Lady of Peace Cathedral, I believe. Not here, but behind it. Right there. You see that red-orange roof right there? That is Our Lady of Peace Catholic Church Cathedral. And they have some artifacts from the saints in there. Father Damien and Marianne Cope. Their relics are in the church. Okay, so this is River Street, I believe. And we're heading into Chinatown. This is the Mauka end of Chinatown. So Chinatown runs all the way to the ocean side, or to the harbor side. And it's a couple blocks, maybe 3 blocks or so, 3 or 4 blocks. This is, we're on Baratanian Street, and the cross street is, I think it's River. I think this is River Street. But they have, this is the beginning of Chinatown. See the Chinese writing on the window? And you'll see this. You see these structures. The architecture thing is the kind of stuff they had back in the 30s. So this is a nice little glimpse of what it was back in the day. You know. I don't know if some of these buildings might actually be at least 100 years old, but I'm pretty sure at least in the 30s these buildings go back to. And so you have this nice mix of this new stuff right here and the older stuff, you know. And you can see, when you go through Chinatown, you can see what it was like back in the day. These little low-rise buildings, like that one right there. Again, so if you like this little bus ride, you know, please feel free to subscribe and click the notification button. By the way, that box right there, if you can see it in front of you, you see that they had a project where they had all these artists like paint these utility boxes. So those are the boxes that actually run the street light. You know, the changing of the street light when it goes green and red and yellow and all that. So I guess they used to be like this dark green. And so they had this project where they had all these artists in Honolulu come and paint one of the boxes to beautify the thing, you know. A'ala Park. We're coming up on A'ala Park. There we have a skate park in A'ala Park. And this is a place where the homeless do hang out. You can find a whole bunch of them here. And you know, so I would never come down here late in the evening, that's for sure. But again, here's another building. You see that architecture right there. From the 30s and 40s. And if you look down that way, there used to be, there is a building, you can't see it through the trees, but that building that's on the opposite side of these trees was the bus station at one point, and as well it was a railroad station for the Oahu Railway. Right, you see another box there. Artist painted. It's kind of an interesting idea. So we have different. This is some kind of. I believe it's some kind of a church. Okay, so what we're coming up on is a cross section into Kalihi, and so if you go straight, it breaks off into like 3 different directions. One is Liliha, off to the right, and if you go to the left, you're going on to Dillingham. Dillingham is named after Benjamin Franklin Dillingham, and I believe that this particular route, this road here, was probably one of the places where he ran the railroad. Somewhere in this area. It ran from Ewa Beach, Kapiolani and Waipahu and all that stuff along this area. And there's actually a mural that kind of depicts the train going by, and there's actually several murals on the island that have that. I know there's one at the Waipahu transit station. I saw it one time when I did a transfer there. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, you got the homeless thing, you got that lady talking to herself. Okie. Okay, so a power plant right there. Now, on Dillingham, on the right side again, you can't see it, but hopefully maybe on the way coming back we'll see it on a different video. We have oh, here Costco. Costco is in this area right here, in this parking lot at the Hawaii self-storage. But across the street is the Honolulu Community College. I think it's a little further up. Let's see. Let's get out the window. Let me see. But yeah, down that road there is Costco. And there's a lot of other big box stores in that area too. Like Lowe's and Home Depot. Yeah, I hope you heard that on the speaker. Yeah, this whole area has that kind of stuff. For those big box stores. Now, on the far, if you go all the way straight down this street over here, it'll lead you to Moana Boulevard and not Moana Boulevard, Nimitz Highway. Sorry, Nimitz Highway is on the opposite end if you go down this road. But we're not going to go down that road. The DMV is actually there. We just passed the DMV. People get their driver's license renewed. I mean, this is more of like an industrial area, kind of. Businesses run We got restaurants and bars. Yeah, this is Kalihi. Welcome to Kalihi.
Please hold on.
Oh, there's a stream. Going over the stream. Okay, so this is again more industrial stuff. You know, they have businesses, bars, things like that over here. I believe Waikimilo. This is Waikimilo Road. In the back of these buildings over there, they have what's it called? Dillingham Business Center. That's what it's called. And they have Savers in there, and an Office Depot, and a Food Land.
Please hold on.
You'll be able to, I'm sure you'll be able to see it when we pass. But you know, this area is always blocked off in the evening time because they're always doing some kind of weird construction. And it was like a couple of months ago, they had like an explosion or something in the ground. I don't know if it was like a gas explosion or something. And they've been working on it for the longest time, but every time in the evening when I pass here, this road is always closed. You see that machine working there? Okay, well, that orange building right there, it has a history. I mean, it used to be, there it is in the background. You got the Office Depot, and that's the Dillingham Business Center. That used to be a Popeye's Chicken. The Popeye's Chicken actually moved over to another area, a few blocks over. There it is, Popeye's Chicken. Doesn't look quite as inviting as the other place did, though. But you know, if you see in the distance there, you see those houses that are green and red house in the distance? That's the kind of buildings they had back in the 40s in this area. So that's Popeye's Chicken. There it is. Those houses right there. That's the kind of houses they had back in the 40s. So, and they still have some of them like sprinkled around in this area. And I've seen a few where I don't know if they're like just historic residences or historic built-up structures or something that they don't break them down, you know. But they're like so beat up, and I'm like, I know when I see them, I'm like, seriously, wow. These structures are still standing after all these years. Now, those structures, those houses, kind of thing, they may be older than the 40s. Definitely, I think it could be older than the 40s. There's just a particular look about certain structures that. That was the mural, by the way, that we just, or is it, no, the one over there, you see where the bus is? That mural is the one that has the train on it, I was telling you about. That there's a mural with a train on it. Not this wall now, the one up there by where the bus is, we just passed. Hopefully we can see it when we pass. But people, you know, they do graffiti stuff on these awesome little murals that people put on fences, and you know, and then they have to put a big X on it. It's just lame. Just lame. Okay, there it is. You see the mural with the train on it? Isn't that cool? And it, you know, it's kind of that this was the area that where the Oahu Railway ran at one point. Oh, and guess, oh, the who's gal. Yeah, this is the who's gal right here. The only place where they put razor wire. Razor wire. Ooh. You can keep things in, keep things out. The place to be corrected. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so this whole area here is like they're getting ready to put up the railway, the new transit thing, right? This is the beginning, or the ending, I should say, of where the rail or Heart Transit is at this point in terms of coming into Dillingham. So that's the ending of it right now. I mean, they're continuing to push forward into Honolulu, right? But this is the one of the ends. You can find the other end out in the Ewa Beach, Kapolei side, which I thought was kind of, it's interesting, you know. And the train station itself, where they have all the trains, is in Waipahu. But it's interesting how you have this, the different highways and then the train kind of all mixed in this area, right? But we reached the ending of Dillingham, and we're going to be heading now to Nimitz Highway. We're going underneath. That's what this is all about here. We're going to be on Nimitz Highway. Now this is where the airport is, in this area. Okay, here we go. Now it's hard to see because of the lighting, but alongside here you're going to see a lot of there's a lot of car dealerships out here in the distance. See that? See little palm trees and things like that. But that's where they have a lot of car dealerships. So we're under the H1 actually. And if you ever drive this, your GPS is going to go crazy. And it's going to tell you, oh, take a left, go make a U-turn. And there are those car dealerships. But yeah, because of the concrete above you. And you need a certain amount of satellites to get good GPS. And this particular, when you're on Nimitz and you're underneath all of this concrete, you're not going to get any reception through your GPS. So whenever I'm on the, if you're on the top of this now, on the H1, you know, that's fine. But once you're underneath here, your GPS is going to tell you all kinds of crazy things. They say, turn around, go up this way, make a left here, make a right there. Oh my goodness. And I think it's because you need, maybe, I think it was at 32, oh, there's Cadillac, hi Cadillac, and GM, and Buick, and all those wonderful things. I think that was a Chevrolet at one point. Okay, but you see that mural right there in the background? That was where Robert Weiland, that was the one, that's the recreation of the one that was back in Waikiki when I told you that it got covered up by the construction of the hotel. He replicated it on that building right there. This is the, oh, there's Bumblebee. I don't know if you can see Bumblebee on that roof there. Yeah, that was Bumblebee. Acura. Okay, Okay, so this is the Best Western airport hotel. So if you ever fly into Honolulu and you need an airport hotel for like a layover or something, you know, like you're going to say Asia or something and you got a long layover, this is one of the airport hotels. And by the way, there's a story about this hotel particularly. Did you know that the lead singer for the rock band Big Country, that was this hotel that he took his life in? For those of you from the 80s, remember the group Big Country? In a big country, dreams stay with you. He came to Honolulu, and I know he had a drinking problem. I can't remember his name. Was it Adam Stewart? Yeah, that was the hotel that he took his life in. I love their music. And I was kind of shocked when I heard about it. And I also had a friend there who actually, she took her life there too. So, you know, that's the thing about airport hotels. They have a lot of suicides. And it's mostly because they don't have a good view, believe it or not. Yeah. A lot of people will come to it's not specifically that hotel or thing, it's the fact that it's at an airport and it's away from the ocean and a beautiful view and everything. For some reason, people who want to kill themselves, if they were to go to like a hotel, by the way, that's another airport hotel. If they go to a hotel where they have a beautiful view and things like that, they're able to talk themselves out of killing themselves a little bit easier than it is with this type of hotel, because there's not a great view. It doesn't distract you. You know, that's why a lot of the airport hotels across the country, not necessarily just that one, you know, have people who go there and they kill themselves, sadly. You know, it's because they don't have something attractive to take their mind off their troubles. And they choose to do that because they don't want to be distracted. They want to do whatever they're doing. But anyways, these pillars that you see around here are the heart. That's the Honolulu Rapid Transit. Those are the pillars, and on top of it is the rail itself, the track. And this is the Honolulu Airport, by the way. This is the Inner Island terminal is right there. See that? The Hawaiian Airlines logo on the tail of the airplane. And that gate in front there, that metal gate, is so that the street lights in the cars don't blind the pilots or distract them, taking off. You know. Isn't that cool? Look at that. I used to work for an airline. I used to work for Aloha Airlines a long, long time ago, back when they existed. They don't exist anymore. But I always fly Hawaiian because they have those nice big jets. That's something I prefer. The 2-aisle jets. So this is military housing right here. Those houses in the background. That's Hickam Air Force Base and Pearl Harbor. On the opposite side, behind the view, you can't see the view, but I think it's the Navy. There's a Navy golf course off screen on the opposite side of the bus here. And there you have, there's a fire station right there. I think there's 2 fire stations in this area. One is the federal fire station. This is not the federal fire station. But we're at the ending of Nimitz right now, where it's going to split off into 3 different directions. And this is Volkenberg, cross street. And so that section goes off into Joint Base Pearl Harbor. And then we're going to go, the one we're on is going toward the stadium. It'll go toward the Arizona Memorial, but also near the stadium. By the way, the stadium is going to be revamped. They're going to build a whole new stadium in the area. They're going to develop it with housing and things like that. They're going to they're literally going to make a whole new community out there. And I don't know. I think they're still there. They've already made the plans for it. But they say that Honolulu, the Aloha Stadium, has served its purpose. So they feel that it's time to retire the stadium, break it down, and build a new one. And that stadium is where I saw a lot of the concerts back in the 90s. Some of the best concerts there. That was the first time I ever saw the Eagles. It came in 1997. Stadium concert. It's pretty awesome. First time I ever saw it. Eagles there. And I know that they've been on a farewell tour forever, but yes, this is one of the gates to Pearl Harbor. Joint Base Pearl Harbor film right there. That's one of the gates to it. And we're heading toward the Arizona Memorial. I'm pretty sure this bus it's not gonna go into the entrance area. It's just gonna go past it. But this whole area along here is Pearl Harbor. And then we're gonna go into a place called Pearl City pretty soon. That's where we're headed. Don't you love those mountains in the background there? And it's a nice blue sky. Look at that. Those mountains. You can see some of those battleships in there. Is that a battleship? We're having the rim pack thing is going on, by the way. It's like sauce. Yeah, where they have those. During the 4th of July, that's when the rim pack thing is going on. Yeah, you heard that? Pearl Harbor National Memorial. So it stops out here, and then you have to cross the street into the entrance. The entrance is in there, and hopefully one day I'll get to do a video about it. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's a national park, and the boat ride out to the memorial is free. You know, to go in there is free. The only one, there's other things we have to pay for though. Like if you go onto the boat and submarine, you have to pay for that. The aviation museum you got to pay for. The Mighty Missouri is you have to pay for that one. But the Arizona itself is free, and the boat ride out to the memorial is free. But their last boat out there is around 3 o'clock, so you got to start early. That's Ford Island right here. I tell you, Ford Island, I remember being told that during World War II, it got hit pretty badly. There was hangars out there that have bullet holes. Still yet, to this day. Oh, this is Richardson Field. I know they used to have like Scottish festivals and things like that out here. I think that was one of the events that when I went out here one time, like the Scottish festival. bagpipes, men in kilts, all kind of games going on. Okay, so we are heading now we're heading towards Pearl City, I believe. So you just follow the rail. All these pillars are the rail. Yeah. You gotta be careful how you do the merging, because there's all kind of different lanes merging into. I want to say this is Kamehameha Highway. Is it Kamehameha Highway? I think this is Kamehameha Highway. But you can see the Pearl Harbor in the background, beyond the trees. Yeah, so we're kind of caught in a little bit of a traffic jam. It does get a little traffic jammy over here, often enough, depending on what time of day, because people are going home, you know, and stuff. But this is a weekend, so I think today's Sunday. Yeah, it's a Sunday. So I'm kind of surprised that it is as kind of crowded as it is, but I guess it definitely could be worse. At least we can see some space between the cars. And that is the rail hanging up above us. Occasionally, you know, I'll see them testing the trains, and we'll see when they're just gliding along. And we are going into Pearl City. This is Pearl City, definitely. Okay, so you heard that? It was Pearl. He said Pearl Ridge Center, and this is the. I think this is the Pearl Kai Center, across the street from Pearl Ridge. So they got a lot of little shops in here, and restaurants. They used to have in the back side, they used to have the karaoke room back in the early 90s. Oh, they had a Jiffy Lube in there. But yeah, so spa. This is where all the people live. This is a karaoke place right here, HNC. And I found them to be a little bit on the expensive side, but they were okay. I mean, their sound system is good. I think they have some deals during the daytime. One of the few surviving karaoke places. Oh, Lex Brody. Okay, so we are at the ending. We've just passed Pearl Ridge Center. We're at the ending of Pearl Ridge Center, and across the street on the right side, which is off camera, we have a place called Anna Miller's. And And then we're going to be passing under the Pearl City Transit Center for the here it is, right here. This is the train station. Oh, Best Buy. That's convenient. But yeah, they got a whole bunch of. This is that's the Goodwill Donation Center. But there's a whole bunch of other businesses that are behind this structure, and I think there's a Cutter Ford. Yeah, there it is. There's a Cutter Ford car dealership here, but in the back of all of this, there are other businesses. The bike shop.
Please hold on.
Okay, I think this is the Blaisdell Park right here. And in the background is one of the lakes for Pearl Harbor. So we have a lake in there. I think it's Westlock. I think that's what that is in the background. So yeah, this is Pearl City, Aiea area on Kamehameha Highway. There's another power plant. We passed one way back when we were going through Kalugi. Talk about being on the grid, right? On the grid. That's the grid. Okay, underneath. So, I mean, along this road here, it's basically just small businesses like garages, salons, things like that. Just things that, you know, the little businesses that service the people in this area. Pearl City Shopping Center. Gas station.
Stop requested.
Okay, so in the complex, the Pearl City Shopping Center, the complex has a Don Quixote, has a Daiso, has a Long's Drugstore. Those are just some of the Chuck E. Cheese. I believe there's a Chuck E. Cheese in there. What else? There's a place where you can do an oil change. There's a bowling alley in there, a Leeward Bowl. But this complex right here, this red, pink, sort of orangey complex, I mean, it's just basically, you know, spas and salons and things like that. There's a cemetery right here, a very old one. There's I wonder if this is the one that has the. No, it's not further down, I think. But we're getting closer to Ewa Beach right now. I think we're gonna be passing through Waipahu. We're heading toward Waipahu right now. Oh, the Pearl Highlands Center is right here. It's not on camera, it's off to the right, and we'll see it when we come back on the other video. But there's a 24-hour fitness in there. At the very top of the hill, there's a Walmart, and there's a Ross in that complex, and a Sam's Club, and I think it's a Jersey Mike's sandwich shop. So they got a lot of restaurants and other little businesses in that little complex. But there's like a steep hill that goes up, and then it comes back down again. That's why it's called the Highlands. So it's the Pearl Highlands complex. And so we're going to be heading out towards Waipahu in just a few minutes. Check out that nice blue sky. It's been very rainy recently. That pillar is again for the railway up on top there. The Hawaii Rapid Transit, or Honolulu Rapid Transit. I'm not sure if it's Honolulu or Hawaii. I think it's Honolulu. It would make more sense if it's Honolulu Rapid Transit. So it's called HART. You know, like the way the Bay Area has the Bay Area Rapid Transit, they call it the BART. I rode in the BART once, or a couple times actually. It was the first time I ever had the opportunity to be on rapid transit. I rode that one, I rode it to Oakland, and it was, it took like 45 minutes. 45 minutes from San Francisco to Oakland. I went there to see a show in a theater for the America's Got Talent. They had that touring show that after the show's over, right? And I think that was the year that Jackie Ivanko won. I think that was the year she won. Oh, we got Home Depot right there. So, they definitely have big box stores. Home Depot is actually opening up another one in Mapuna Puna. And they closed one of my favorite places. It's called Ranch 99. And I have a video for that. I'll probably post it soon, actually. Pretty soon, hopefully. And they have this Greek restaurant in there that I just love so much. They said they're just moving. They're going to be moving. Which I hope they do. I hope they just moved in a place. And I wouldn't want to. There's not a lot of places that serve Greek food. We don't have a lot of Greek food restaurants in Hawaii. But he did a good job. The guy who owns it, he does a good job with the food. Okay, heading out to Waipahu. And this is a really interesting, there's a stop here that's sort of just like a little island in the middle of nowhere. The people living over here, just like in the middle of nowhere. Here it is. Here's this little island that they pulled into. You see that bus stop right there? And he pulls off to the side and he picks up passengers. And that's traffic going the opposite direction, which will probably be on that route. That one in the other video, which will be Ewa to Waikiki.
Please hold on. The bus is departing. Stop requested.
Check out that view. Isn't that really nice looking? Okay, I think that is the rapid transit station where the trains are, right there. I think that is. Can you see it? Because it looks like it's definitely a rail station. And I think the trains are out there. That area. I don't know. I guess we're not close enough. Maybe we can catch it on the way back. But there should be a whole bunch of trains. Maybe we'll see it when we get on the opposite side of this hill. There they are. There they are. You see them? There are the trains. They're not even out of the gate yet, you know? Check that out. There's like, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trains. They'll be running all over the place. Wow. Isn't that cool? Brand new trains. They haven't even started yet. And they said that there's supposed to be like places inside the cabs where you can put your surfboard. A whole section to put your surfboard on. And places for like baby carriages and wheelchairs, all that kind of stuff.
Please hold on. The buses are coming.
So this bus ride itself is an easy 2 hours something. You know, because we've already passed the hour. I think we're at an hour and a half now. But yeah, we've just entered into Waipahu, and I think that is Waipahu High School right there in front of us. Just follow the rail line. Oop, here we go. Waipahu. Waipahu District Park. Now the funny thing is that there is another Don Quixote and Savers and everything out in this area. But I know the Don Quixote that's out in this area looks a lot like the one in what was it? Wow. I'm thinking. It escapes me. Sorry about that. But the Waipahu Transit Center, the Waipahu Rail Center or station, it's coming up soon. And it's right next to the transit, the train station, the Don Quixote, which I thought was kind of cool. And it's the same way out by, what do you call that? Pearl City. Again, so this is all residential and a lot of businesses and car dealerships out here. And now the interesting thing, if you hear the announcer, it's a computer, I think it is, that's announcing this. Here it is.
Waipahu Civic Center, Waipahu Library, State Office Building. Passengers line 4, right credit, must transfer to right 4.
Okay, so he makes a turn here. AutoZone. So the Waipahu Transit Center is right there. You see that green roof? He makes that turn.
Stop requested.
This is where you can make a lot of transfers to different parts of the island here. And most of the buses going in this direction will stop or go past through the Waipahu Transit Center. And it's not really big. I mean, it's just like maybe 2 bus stops here. But they're on both sides of the street. And it's, there, see that? This is the Waipahu Transit Center. Just these 4 bus stops all connected together. Hey, there's the Highway Inn. I know the Highway Inn used to be on Ala Moana Boulevard. I wonder if this is a different. I think it's still there. I didn't even check.
Please hold on. Bus is departing.
I think this is just another Highway Inn. I think the one that's still on. I think it's still there. I can't even think about it now. Wasn't even paying attention. Sorry. Oh, here again. There's more bus stops over here, but this whole street practically is the Waipahu Transit Center.
Waipahu people at Ellington.
So the Don Quixote. This is Times Supermarket. I know there's a Don Quixote on the opposite side of this, I believe. It's going to make a turn. On the opposite side of this bus right now we're passing by the smokestack for the Waipahu sugar mill. And it's just a remnant of the Waipahu sugar mill. You can see it for miles when you're driving on the freeway. You say, oh, that's Waipahu right there, because you can see the smokestack. But yeah, here's across that street there's a little shopping center. Is it here?
Please hold on. The bus is departing.
It's making a turn. I believe. You notice how lush everything is? And it's because it was raining recently. We had some heavy rains recently. And yeah, no, it is rainy season, hurricane season right now anyway. Yeah, we have a graffiti problem. Most metropolitan places do. People got nothing better to do with their time than graffiti all over the place and make a mess, you know? Do we not have better things to do with our time?
Stop requested. Ellington and Ukulele, Westgate Center. Please hold on. The bus is departing. Stop requested. Ellington and Kakaako, Waipahu Shopping Plaza.
Quest. Never heard of that. I mean, clearly it's a storage place, but I've never heard of that. Store Quest. I wonder if it must be a local company. Huh. Okay, so we're heading now, because we just finished going through Waipahu.
Please hold on. The bus is departing.
We're heading now straight to Ewa Beach. So we're coming to the ending pretty soon.
Waipahu Shopping Center. Waipahu Shopping Club.
We're still in Waipahu, but we're just heading now toward Ewa Beach. Ewa Beach, the road out there, Fort Weaver Road, is pretty long. And then we're going to be passing through a lot of residential streets when we get there. But you know, you can definitely see how the architecture is. Like when we were passing through Chinatown. You have the old and the new. This is Bayview Auto Sales. Walgreens. This is the longest thing, you know. Here we go. Don Quixote is right here. I thought we were passing it back there. Yeah. So the transit station is right here. Yeah. Right here. The Waipahu Transit Station. Now, I want you to notice, you see that engraving that's sort of like on one of the pillars right here? That's so that you know that that's a station that you're passing. You know, I didn't notice it before until later on that I realized that only the ones that are at the base of a transit station has those types of engravings on them. And I think it's because it's just to tell the drivers that they are passing by a transit station. You know, because all the other ones, that they don't have this type of engravings on them. Or embossing on it. And that way they don't have to look up. Or if there's like large vehicles in the area, or whatever lane you're in, you should be able to see. Oh, okay, I'm passing under the station. Of course, it's all Hawaiian themed, yeah. So Hawaii, the bus company is actually trying to phase out the diesel buses. They're going to go straight up electric. Believe it or not. Check that out. Isn't that cool? They have a little breezeway. That's the transit station for Waipahu. Here we got a Kia dealership. We're on Farrington Highway, by the way. Back when we got onto the where they had that little island bus stop where he turns off to pick up some people. That was when we were heading onto Farrington Highway. Okay, so we're heading now to Ewa Beach. This is definitely on Farrington Highway heading toward Ewa Beach. And he's going to turn onto Fort Beaver Road If you can see that building in the distance, I believe that's Queen's Hospital. The Ewa version of Queen's Hospital. Okay, so he's gonna make a turn right here. Fort Beaver Road. There's another road called Old Fort Weaver Road, and it's like a back dirt road practically. It's, well, I mean, it has paving. It has paving, but it's like a, I mean, it's basically a grass. Not all you can see is grass, and there's maybe some rundown houses along the way. This is the new Fort Weaver Road. And you notice, if you notice, they have all these like gated communities over there with this nice rock wall. And back in the day, like the ending, the beginning of the 20th century, they had it was a barren wasteland. Ewa Beach was like a barren wasteland because they didn't have water out here, and so they would have to find wells. And once they found the wells, then everything began, sort of, so to speak. But it took a long time, for them to develop this area, because they had to put in the infrastructure for like sewer and water line and so forth. But after a while, and when they developed this area, they also were developing like Kapolei. Yeah, but the houses out here are all like practically brand new. All this development out here, so it looks a lot newer than a lot of the stuff that's in town. The only nasty thing is the commute back into town if you're working in town. As well as Ewa Beach, this area is within the flight path for the airport. So you can hear airplanes flying overhead all the time. And they come pretty low. I've seen a few coming in out of this area. It comes in pretty low. So I think some of this stuff is the community is called Ewa by Gentry, the one that we're looking at here. I think there's another one. But as you see, that they're all. Oh, and there's another. There's a golf course out here somewhere, further down. See all these residential houses, all brand new stuff here. And I think it's only been here like within the past 10 years. These developments. Same thing with Kapolei. They're still developing out there. Now the opposite side of the window, the side of the window you can't see, it has a lot more. Oh, by the way, there's a cell phone tower. Can you see it? Can you spot it right there? Can you see it? It looks, they disguised it as a coconut tree, a palm tree. Can you see it right there? It's a cell phone tower.
Please hold on. The bus is departed.
So you don't notice it. Let's see.
Stop requested.
He's going to be turning off to the left pretty soon. But he stops along the way for these little, there's some malls out here. So I believe he just stopped at the place where they have the Buffalo Hot Wings. Oh, okay, we're passing Renton Road. There's, oh, okay. There we go, we're going to put the house in. There's the railroad tracks. They're historic railroad tracks, and they're heading off to the Pearl Harbor side. There's historic railroad tracks. Railway Museum. It's on Renton Road. So the road that we just passed was Renton Road. And that's a whole different story on its own. Definitely, if you come out to this side, you should check it out. On Saturdays and Sundays, they have train rides. Yeah, you see that house there that's still being built? See all the development going on? They have a new, the third largest shopping mall in Hawaii is out here. It's called Kamaka. And it's by Kapolei. Sort of like in between almost, you know, between Kapolei and Ewa Beach. The line between those two places is really, I don't even know where it is. There's Ewa by Gentry right there. You see that sign? A lot of that is here. I think that whole thing, all the way that we passed, was Ewa by Gentry. I'm not 100% sure though. But that's like one of the developments, one of the gated communities that was out here. So we're coming up on 2 hours. Before we finally reach the end of the line for this bus. Ewa Town Center. Okay, so I think this is where they have the Buffalo Wild Wings and the Ross, Candy Express. I think they used to have an Applebee's out here. I don't know what happened to that. I know they had one at the Kamakani Elite, but that closed. Yep, another Ewa by Gentry. There it is. Iroquois Street, the boulevard. Oh, those cars. Wow, a lot of people living in there. All fenced in with those hedges and walls. Oh, there's an airplane. See what I mean? It's part of the flight path. Airplanes fly overhead all the time. Boy, this is a really long light. You know, they have some intersections in Honolulu where they have a really long light. It's like five directional intersection, like 5 different things, and you have to wait for each light to change. Give everybody their turn. But you know, it's a hot day today. It's a summer day. And being on the bus with air conditioning is good. It feels good anyway. So he moved over to the center lane, and it looks like he's going to be making a left turn pretty soon. But you see all these nice developed houses and everything like that? I don't think he turns right here. I think back there, enough back there where we passed the golf course. There should be a golf course somewhere in this area. I think that might be it right there across the street. And it's because it seems like kind of open area. I think that's the golf course. So if you're somebody who likes golfing, that might be of interest to you. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that is the golf course. Looks like it. Yep. Little golfers, hills.
Please hold on. The bus is departing.
Rolling hills. Little golf carts. But check out those mountains in the background. With the nice blue sky and the puffy clouds. It's kind of like a scene from like a Bob Ross painting. Got all these different kinds of trees. Okay, so you see those houses over there? You see how they tend to look a lot older than the ones we've been passing? Okay, so this is like the old Ewa Beach. And he's going to be making a turn into that. Now, when I say old, I'm not talking about ancient, like from the 40s and 20s and 30s. No, just maybe from the 60s kind of thing. 70s, 60s, somewhere on that. But it seems definitely that there's a division right here. Because these houses here are not exactly part of like a gated community. They're more sort of like freestanding. So I would say, if I were to guess an age on some of these houses, probably late 70s, maybe? Late 70s, early 80s. When they probably were starting to really develop Ewa Beach. So I have a video that I was going to put up of one of the parks in this area, which I will do later. So as I said, if you have, if you've enjoyed this video so far, please subscribe and hit the notification button.
Please hold on.
Hit the bell.
The bus is departed.
And give us a thumbs up. And if you want to, you can give us a comment and, you know, tell us what you think, or if you have any knowledge of anything we've passed along the way, you can tell us a story.
Please hold on. The bus is departed.
And as I said, you know, this channel is for basically anybody who's interested in Hawaii, currently out in its current state. And, you know, I can share what I know about it. Oh, there we go. We're going to make a left turn now. This is into the heart of Ewa, where the people live. Isn't that cool? Let me find the accordion bus. So this is into the residential area, and we're going to be coming to the end of, or the terminus, as they say, of where the bus line ends. And yeah, I mean, some of these houses definitely don't look ancient. They, you know, but they don't quite look as new as the other ones. This one right here does. So this could have been a new build right there. It's kind of interesting, all the different colors, yeah, of how they paint their houses. All the campaign signs. Oh, nice greenhouse. You know, if you drive through other neighborhoods, like say Waikiki, the architecture is a little bit different everywhere you go. You know, how these areas that get developed. Isn't that nice yellow? Pretty. Making another turn. So basically he's going around a big area through the residential. Oh, that's a mansion we just passed. So we're going through a big residential area of Ewa Beach. But you notice how the streets are just packed, you know, with cars, bumper to bumper. Some of them are they're really packed in there. I wonder how they get out. Oh, parked on the sidewalk. Did you see that? Oh my. He couldn't make it onto the curb. I mean, he couldn't park it on the curb, so he parked it on the curb.
Stop requested.
Oh, that's a nice fence. It's different. Okay, so this is all wilderness stuff. You see this? Along the edge here. But yeah, you can see the difference in the architecture. And a lot of these homes look a lot older and more lived in, I guess you could say, than the newer ones that we passed when we were coming in to Ewa Beach. But not more ancient. I'm thinking that it maybe the 80s, definitely. Oh, skate park. And I think, yeah, this is a regular regional park here. And they have, I know that they have another park that's on the beach. I paid it a visit a while ago. But we're going to come around, it's going to make another turn pretty soon. He's passing some of the high schools. Yeah, so we just passed one of the high schools, and then we're going to be going back onto Fort Beaver Road pretty soon. This is Ewa Apartments. I believe he's going to make a turn here. Yeah, here it is, making a turn. And this is the ending of the route. He's going to be terminating here. And the total hours, it was about 2 hours and 14 minutes. Very close to 2 hours and 14 minutes. So I want to thank you for joining me. And please again, subscribe if you like this little journey out here. You get to see some stuff, learn the little things along the way. And if you like the fact that I narrated this one versus kind of not saying anything on the other ones, you know, make a comment. And again, hit the notification button, give me a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll see you in another video. Mahalo. Got to get off. It's the ending of a line. There we go. You know, you just have to tap those doors for them to open up. Or right by a school.